Hello and welcome to episode 149 of the Book Wars Pod.
Hello there.
Yeah, remember when we had our last episode and we were like, yeah, we'll be back in a week, and that was a month ago. But
It's my fault.
cool.
Sorry.
No, it's also
Blame.
my fault. It's all of our faults.
I will claim no fault here because
You totally had a fault too.
In
You guys have
Miranda's
already
defense,
claimed it.
in Miranda's defense, the day that would have been her fault, I ended up not being able to do anyway. So
It's okay. I didn't know that we were going to do that day, and I was so convinced that we weren't that I didn't even bring my recording equipment 2,000 miles across the country. So glad it didn't work out.
mm-hmm.
Kristen looks a little frustrated with us all. Producer.
I'm not frustrated with you. It's not like I did anything over the break.
She's not
so
angry. She's disappointed.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's my
I'm
life
not.
status.
I don't care. We're a year or two into a pandemic. It's really fine. We should record when we can.
Yeah, COVID's not fun. If people can tell by my voice, I am quite stuffed up because I have been infected with the plague. It's quite unpleasant. Even though I am vaccinated and boosted, so which I'm sure made it much better than it could have been. So get vaccinated.
Omicron is a real bitch.
Yeah, man.
They say.
So today we're finally finishing the reading part of Thrawn Ascendancy, Chaos Rising. The book that will not end.
Oh, nice.
No, it's not nice at all, Christian.
Out of curiosity, is this the longest it's ever taken us to record a book?
Very possibly. Very
question.
possibly.
I feel like without checking, yes.
To be fair, like a lot of that was my fault for ripping off my hamstring, but also like I think it was just a long time.
Yeah,
The
I don't know if
holidays
we
got
were
in the
mid-book with your
way.
hamstring, though. I think we may have been between books for that.
No, I think we did an
we were.
episode.
Yeah, we did one.
Oh, yeah. Who knows? Who remembers?
I think. Maybe not. I don't know. My brain is dying. It just doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
Can't wait to start work again tomorrow.
I start work again for the first time in 4 months next Monday, and that's going to be a trip.
I hope all readers, what the hell is this? I hope all listeners are celebrating for Chris right now. It's exciting news. Also, Kate will be so happy.
Indeed. It's
Yeah,
exciting times.
I had to work today and would not recommend.
So before we get started, finishing up this book, what are we all drinking?
I'm
Rana,
eating
you first.
dinner. I'm eating dinner.
Okay.
I'm
What are you
eating dinner
drinking in
and
your dinner?
I'm eating dinner and drinking water.
Yeah, is that what's in your comically large?
It's a big cup.
For
Cup.
those who can't see on our famously visual podcast, Keek's cup is like close. Wow, my brain. Almost 2 times the size of her face. That's what I
Yeah,
was going
it's-
for there.
Does
Close is
I don't
is a new
know that
bad.
it tells me how big it is, but it's
Maybe like 128.
No, it's not that big. It fits like
64.
it's like a little bit.
This is a 64.
I think it's like a liter.
It looks bigger than a liter. But
Yeah.
I believe you. Maybe you have a very small head. I wouldn't know.
Well, I think it was also closer. There you go.
It's still bigger than your
That's
head.
still bigger
that's
than your
definitely
head by
bigger than a
far.
liter.
It's still
bigger
it's
than a
still big.
liter.
Okay, yeah. Anyway, go ahead, Rana.
Sorry.
Sorry.
You would think all this time away would make me less of an asshole, but no. Just
No, you went
just
to
my
Massachusetts.
personality.
I was
More
just
of an
gonna say.
asshole.
Okay, I did indeed, and I drove through a lot of the country, and somehow my dog did not kill his puppy friend, so I'm happy. I am drinking a coffee coconut stout by Weldworks Brewing, and it is perfect for this nice cold weather. I love a coffee stout. I love a coconut stout. This is from Weldworks, which is in Greeley. It's 8%, and it has no description. Oh, it does. Just kidding. I can't read. That's why I'm on a book podcast. It says brewed with toasted coconut, milk, sugar, Peruvian coffee from Zoe's Cafe or Zoe's Cafe. I assume that's somewhere in Greeley. And natural flavors added, whatever the fuck that means. So that's what I'm drinking. It's delicious, I have to say. Totally worth it. I got some beer recently, a little make your own 6-pack to make a beer cheese sauce for homemade pretzels. And I got this as a
Yum.
treat to myself, and it is good.
What beer did you use for the cheese?
Oh, it's in the recycling bin. It was something with a dog on it, and it was an IPA, which I next time
Okay.
would use an amber ale, which I did before because it has a better flavor for it. But
Yeah, IPAs can be a little aggressive.
well, I wanted something a little like more beer tasting because last time I did an amber ale and it wasn't super strong.
Have
but
you done a
this time it's
brown?
good. I have only made them twice for the sake of my intestines, but I
Sure.
might make them again soon.
Yeah, a brown is good.
Mm.
Because
It
it's
reminds me I
very
need to put up pizza dough tonight.
beery.
Ooh. I will pass it over to Burb to talk more about beery flavors or whatever she's drinking.
I've got a Pilsner. I've always got a Pilsner. It's from Ex Novo. I've had it before. I forget what it's called because I recycled the can, but it's from our friends at Ex Novo in Portland. Drink beer, do good. Beer.
Beer. I'm also boring. I'm just drinking green tea because, like I said, sick. So yeah.
Good talk.
Also, I
Thanks for coming
finally
to the
remembered the beer
podcast.
for the cheese thing, which was Snake River Pecos beer. So yeah, that's it.
Nice.
Oh, that
Cool,
sounds
cool. Welcome to
interesting.
Beer Pod.
Man, remember when Kristen had a beer pod? That was wild.
Beer pod died.
Okay, to be fair, the venture capitalist behind the beer thing that we used to make the beer pod also died. So
Oh, that is good to know.
I thought that this was like a joke about a beer pod, and now I'm
Nope.
realizing it was a real thing.
It was
Nope,
real.
we
I was
I
on
used to have
it.
beer.
I even bought a thing and then we never brewed it.
I know, same.
Yep.
Oh, were you like home brewing and describing
Yeah,
it?
it was like
Yep.
a Pico Brew was the company. I have one. I have never used it because I'm afraid that it's very complicated.
You have one?
Yeah.
I have one also, but it's very funny that you have one. Anyway, now that we have a house, we'll probably set it up and use it. But
We had a house
it's a
when
whole
you
thing.
got.
I know it doesn't count.
Now that she owns her house, she's in a new like life status. So she has
Now
room to
that
do
I
it
can
again.
set it up and never have to move it again if I don't want to. Is what I mean.
Oh, good.
Oh God, moving is the worst.
Ugh.
We're not moving for like 6 months until Kate graduates, and I'm already dreading it.
I'll help.
Aw, yay. All right, moving is slightly less terrible.
I know it's still gonna suck. I'm gonna get hangry, but I'll just provide my own snacks.
Obviously we're gonna buy pizza. Anyway, so before we get started talking about the book, as a reminder, our organization that we're telling people to support during this book is the Texas Equal Accent Fund. Jesus Christ, Equal Access Fund.
All Southern drawls are created equal.
Oh my God, that's false. That's patently false. I'll go to the mat on that one. Anyway, it provides emotional and financial support to people in Texas who are seeking abortion care. So go to tfund.org if you are interested in giving to them, and do that instead of / before you give to us. Shall we talk about blue people?
They're blue.
They are blue.
I can talk about blue people
Do it.
if everyone else wants to.
I was just thinking, blue person side note of the blue cameo on this week's premiere of Book of Boba Fett, but then Kristen still hasn't fucking watched it, so it'd be lost on her.
There's a blue person.
You're right. I still haven't
I
watched
missed
it.
the blue person.
I
and
missed
thought
the
I
blue
watched
person,
it. I was
too.
pretty tired. It was after
Oh.
the 31 hours of driving, but still.
It's literally just Max Rebo is in the cantina.
Oh, that. Yeah, no, I did see that. I thought you meant there was a chiss person.
No,
Yeah, I was
just
like,
just
"Ooh."
general blue person.
I was actually extremely excited to see Max
Hondo?
Rebo.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Literally, somebody put in, I believe it was Daniel, put in the Tachi Station Slack, being like, not Hondo, but there's a blue person.
You love to see it.
Lordy. So yeah, Thrawn, the titular blue person.
What's the titular role?
He sure is. So one thing that we learned from this final quarter of the book is when the fuck it's taking place, which we didn't. I mean, we had like a general sense of before, but now we know exactly when it's taking place because it is crossing with Thrawn alliances, which we read about a year ago.
Yeah, that was really cool because like he's just flying off into space with the little Skywalker. But like I just remember reading the scene that we saw here in the other book, and Thrawn was like, "I'm with my pilot," and you think it's like a pilot, and instead it's like a 9-year-old
Yep.
who just learned to fly like yesterday.
Very Star Wars.
Who, like, if I recall correctly, in Thrawn alliances, did some like not insignificant like flight work in that book to pick Thrawn up in the middle of a firefight.
She's very talented. She's got the what do they call it? The third sight. She
Indeed.
knows the Force. Yeah, but like you're supposed to start a sentence when you say that. Go me.
I was gonna say I assumed you had a thought.
I
Was that
did.
incorrect?
And then, well, it was correct, and then it was incorrect, and then it I kind of remembered again. The one thing I'm interested in seeing, and this is, I mean, maybe a topic for the wrap up next episode. But like, if this is when we are, in the first of the trilogy, like, where are we gonna be by the end of the trilogy?
That's a good question. I bet Chris has an answer.
I'm sure he knows.
I don't
'Cause I don't.
actually. I mean, I know where we are in Chiss time. It takes place over a relatively short period of time. The trilogy does, but I mean, it doesn't. At least so far, I only started the third book today, finally. But it doesn't mention anything else about the Republic so far.
Other than their shields.
Other than the shields. I found that really interesting that the Chiss like shield technology is so deficient to the Republic's when obviously they act so high and mighty over everyone else.
Do we think anything about that is because they're so trusting in their own ability to like navigate situations and be strategic that they
Yeah,
just haven't had to do that?
That's what I thought too. Is they're very tactically inclined. I mean, like, obviously Thrawn's better than the rest of them, but it seems that in general, they generally know what they're doing.
I don't actually know that I would agree with that they generally know what they're doing. I think
I
that
mean, nobody knows what we're doing at any point, but
I mean, that's obviously we're the ones who know best of all what we're doing because
exactly.
we are very clear that people should not listen to this podcast.
Exactly.
But yeah, I don't know. We're going to talk about this a little more next week, but like I don't get the sense that the Chiss are particularly good at what they think they're good at. Like they're very, and we're going to get more at this in the next two books when it does delve into the Chiss like domestic political situation a little more, whereas this one didn't really, other than them trying to hate Thrawn. But like they're very set in their ways and very unwilling to change their procedures in the face of any sort of emergency, which I find really interesting about them.
Yeah, we do see that a little bit in this, but like, I mean, if they're tactically, strategically better than, or more advanced or adept than their neighbors, does it matter if they're good?
No, but that begs the question, are they good or are they just better than a weak group of neighbors who live in a bizarre area of space?
Well, they feel very good about themselves.
That they do.
and we feel good about them because they're blue.
All true points.
Yeah.
Miranda, I think you added a point.
I did add a point. So, and like I don't know how good the Republic shield technology is. Like it always seemed like, oh yeah, like this is kind of the standard. It works, but if it's so far advanced past what the Chiss are able to do, like, you know, sure they're gonna be more deficient, and like they're obviously learning about this technology. Like they stole the shield to get it. But also in general, the Ascendancy doesn't seem to be super familiar with the Republic. I think they call it lesser space, the galaxy far, far away that we are all familiar with. And like, you know, it's okay, Thrawn finds out that, oh, this planet is called Batu, and you know, the one gal flying the plane asks if
Cherie.
No, the one from the Republic or from the galaxy. Doja
yeah.
Cat.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I'm just having a great mental image of Doja Cat, like, at her most extra flying a ship in Star Wars, and honestly, I can see it.
So Lil Nas X is, like, talking to Thrawn. But she's
I fully believe that that's a music video we're going to see in the future is all I'm saying.
God, I hope so.
I would be really excited if that were the case.
I would love that. But, so, what's her name? Doja? She's like, oh, are you with the Republic or the Separatists? And he's like, I don't have sides. But I'm like, do you know anything about this civil war that's happening very close to you?
It definitely seems like they don't.
Like, they don't seem, they're not super familiar with the sides. They're not, I mean, like, obviously Batu is kind of in the middle of nowhere, but theoretically it's closer to the Ascendancy than, honestly, probably a lot of things in the galaxy. Like, they just seem very unaware, and I'm fascinated by it. Especially because of how high and mighty they, think of themselves as.
Yeah, and it kind of does relate back to, like, how they got in this mess of not knowing who the Nicardoon were until, like, they were basically at their doorstep and just not caring at all whatsoever. Like, they're very superior, but they're also insular. Like, Aralani was like, she wasn't just like, oh, this is interesting tech. She was like, oh, this could change everything we do about our warfare. And it's like, that feels like if your neighbor has something that's that much more advanced than you, it feels like you should know that.
Yeah, it's a good point about, like, why isolationism is not always the best tactic, or maybe ever the best tactic. But I think it really points to the ways that they have sort of secluded themselves. I think if we compare that to some of the conversations we saw in whatever the hell Padme book we read a couple months ago. I can't remember if it was Queen's Shadow or Queen's Peril or whichever one it was. But where there is this whole debate about how much you should be involved with your neighboring planets, it just kind of made me think of that in terms of what the hell is the my brain is failing me. What the hell are they thinking? Like, they just really not had to have any sort of strategic alliances and conversations that go past the basic conversations? Like, do they not actually plan together and learn about technology and all that? I don't know. It's interesting to me.
I mean, my thing is, like, it's, they can play in their own, backyard or their own little neighborhood, but this is like 2 cities over, basically, and they've got no fucking idea what's going on. Like, they just seem to be entirely unaware of, like, even, like, maybe there's some conflict there.
Yeah.
It's a galaxy-wide war.
Like, they're unaware at the same time they pride themselves on being aware about these bizarre details, like about silverware and paint showing them how to understand people. And I know that those weren't their neighbors, but it's just a strange juxtaposition. That's not how we pronounce that word. Juxtaposition. Wow, one beer in.
To be fair, that's just Thrawn, but also, like, he, of anybody in the ascendancy. I feel like he would be the one to be, hip to that. And, like, obviously he goes and is like on Batu and meets Mr. Skywalker. But I don't know. It was just a thought I had.
Yeah. And no, I think it is interesting because like Thrawn's whole thing is like he does the like obviously his whole thing is art, but like he has these logical leaps that like he can guide you through, and then by the time he's done, you're like, okay, that all makes sense. And I feel like those are the type of logical leaps that like culturally from what we've seen of the Chiss so far, they are not interested in even trying to make those leaps, which is I feel like where Thrawn really comes into conflict with kind of the leadership, because like he'll be like these are natural things that we should know about, and they're like, says who?
Shut the fuck up, Thrawn. Go be blue.
Go be blue, Pierce Brosnan. No one cares.
I mean, I think that's interesting too, and we don't get like a ton more of his interaction with kind of the politics of everything in the ascendancy, but we definitely see more of like how they feel about him. Like they're trying to treason the hell out of the family and all of that. I don't know. I think Aralani made an interesting point. Like, Thrawn obviously has his strengths. Politics is not it, or one of them. But she said at one point that politics and war are two sides of the same coin. And I think there is truth to that. And there is a little bit of, oh gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm thinking about the scene where he's like telling everybody what they're gonna do, and like in the ascendancy leadership, and it's savvy. Like his war plans are savvy, and there's like it's the way he manipulates situations. Like he's like, okay, well, we're in this specific case gonna send these two gals, and they're gonna have a little sorry we stole your ship note. But then this can happen. And so, he's very good at like goading people into attacking the ascendancy. However they deem like attacking to be defined as, because that's a whole big topic of conversation. But like I don't. It's weird that, he's got that on the war side of the coin, but that's incredible manipulation.
Yeah.
Why isn't he good at politics?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, and frankly, one of the issues that I've always had with Tim Zahn's, like, he's terrible at politics without like ever showing how. Because it is the same thing. Like war is politics. Like that is what causes wars.
It's a whole thing.
Sometimes I get the impression that Tim Zahn wanted to do he's not good with people, but he's good with like strategy, and then tried to apply it to a Star Wars universe in like world building. I don't know. It just, yeah, I agree. It does seem a little bit short-sighted that war is politics. How would you do that otherwise?
Yeah, it's interesting. I only read the original Thrawn trilogy. I know there's other Thrawn books in the Legends universe. I don't know if this whole he's bad at politics thing stems from Legends, or if it's like a new thing to like make him less like Deus Ex Thrawn. Like, but like we are like kind of starting to see it, particularly in the like his like how the Syndicare doesn't like him, and he like is never quite able to grasp why, but like it is always odd, and like you do start to get a little bit more of it in the next two books, but it does feel very forced because it doesn't make sense that he wouldn't understand these things.
Yeah, we're being told one thing and being shown another thing in a lot of instances. And like, it happens a lot. He kind of does this, like, you know, thinking ahead in battle, but he's there telling them, like, oh, yes, you know, pretending like it's all going to be fine. Because usually he just has to apologize afterward, like, oops, I stole this ship. But yeah, that's a point.
Yeah, and like thinking back to the Thrawn treason in the last canon trilogy, like that whole scene where he like is trying to win over Captain Pelion and like trying to trigger the admiral, the Imperial admiral, into like shooting him essentially, like that whole scene where he was like, "Oh, I know you from your music, even though I don't usually understand music. Like I saw you like performing your own," and I'm like, and then like proceeds to like just rip this dude apart like piece by piece, and I'm just like, okay, but like literally this is the same as politics. You're understanding his motivations, you're understanding how he's going to react to something, like it's the exact same thing, and so like that's something that's always like felt odd that it like, or rather at odds, that his alleged lack of political sense and his phenomenal ability to get people to do exactly what he wants them to.
He's just got bad people skills.
Why not just say that though?
He's got, I don't, because it's less interesting.
Yeah.
It's less of a, you know, like this is, him
not a
being
gimmick.
bad at politics is, you know, the one thing he's got from, to keep him from being a Mary Sue. Like,
He might still kind of qualify as a Mary Sue. I mean, I like Thrawn's character. I think it's fascinating. But if people are going to say every woman in Star Wars who solves a problem is a Mary Sue, then by that same logic.
I'd say he's more of a Mary Blue.
Well done, Chris. I don't know what Meldon is, but well done.
Yeah, I just really wanted to get that in there.
love it. Incredible.
Miranda, you had one final point on this topic that you put in the outline. Would you like to make it?
See, I still don't, I think I stand by it, but I'm of a split mind sometimes. You know what? Fuck it. Thrawn is a bottom. He is able to, it's like not passively, but like actively passively get things to go his way. So there you go. He's not direct about it.
Yeah, he's a manipulative bottom. He's a power bottom.
Yep.
Got it. Noted. Let's talk about Arlani, the top
She's
to
the
Thrawn's
fucking
bottom.
best. She is absolutely a top, and she's the fucking best.
Yeah, I enjoyed that we got a lot more of her in this book and in this trilogy, because she is far and away the most interesting part of Thrawn's character.
Yeah. You know, I think, gosh, it's been forever since I read the first trilogy. But it was always like, yes, this vague person, Aralani. And now it's like, oh, y'all been friends. You're very responsible and good at your job. And also sometimes you just kind of let Thrawn fuck around. Because you trust him and you know he's going to be right in the end. Except for that one time. But otherwise, she's cool.
I feel like I've been talking a lot this podcast. Rana, do you have any thoughts on Arlani?
I like Arlani. I don't really have much to say about her because I've read this book in such a fragmented way. But I really like Arlani. I like that she is willing to think in a way that balances like the Chiss world with and her military strategy and trusting Thrawn. And I like that she calls him out on his bullshit too. So yeah, I like Arlani.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say.
I think if we want to, like, you know, we've talked a lot about Thrawn's lack of political savvy, heavy air quotes, but in terms of his social skills, like, she's kind of the interface. Like, she's the one who honestly just cleans up his fucking messes. Like, she's the one who's gonna go talk to Buckheath, and, you know, he talks to both of them, but she's there to be like, no, this, I mean, it was stupid, but it was a good idea. Somebody put in the outline, she's the Obi-Wan to Thrawn's Anakin, which is correct.
Yeah, that was me.
Good job. Do you want to touch on that?
Yeah, I mean, like, Thrawn, much like Anakin, has never. It has rarely occurred to him that he doesn't know what he's doing. And Aralani is like very, and this is honestly my favorite part of her character. Is she's the only one in these books who, except maybe Bakif, but he's not a major character. Like, she's the only major character certainly who has a concept that there might be things in the world that she doesn't know, and she acts accordingly. And that's great, and I think that's like a great quality to bring to a relationship with Thrawn, because she is very much like, I see your logic, but I also like understand that we need to be prepared for other outcomes, and like, because we just don't know things, and like kind of bringing that common sense to Thrawn in the same way that Obi-Wan does to Anakin, who has never had a plan that didn't start and end with fucking Leroy Jenkinsing up in there.
And I think too, like, with that and with her openness to like, hey, I might not know anything, you know, she's like a great foil to Thrawn, because she's not gonna be like the, you know, the straight man in this, right? Like, she's gonna, you know, she's gonna say, okay, well, there are rules and regulations, sir. But she's also willing to see what happens. Like, she's not just gonna shut everything down and like shoot down all of his ideas and opinions and plans and whatever crazy shit he's got planned or going for him. I don't know. But they play well with each other.
It's interesting that you say that, though, because, and this was a thought I just had as you were talking, because when we first meet her, well, I mean, I guess we meet her at the very end of Alliances, but like when we mostly meet her for real in Treason, it feels like they don't play well together. Like, their relationship is very different there. Like, and you can see the like that they used to be very close, because she like knows him and understands how he thinks and trusts him. But like the first time they like encounter each other, and like remembering that it's the first time in like 20 years that they've seen each other, it's not like, oh my God, like, it's so good to see you, my close personal friend from school who took me to an art gallery once. It's, you piece of shit, you ruined my like trap that I was luring the Grisks into. Now we have to start all over.
I wonder if that has anything to do with how this trilogy is going to unfold. I mean, like, I do wonder how far this trilogy will take us into the story of Thrawn, the blue boy. But, like, does something happen? But, like, also, if I didn't see someone for 20 years that I was really close with, and they pulled that shit, I would do the same thing.
Fair. Yeah, it definitely, and I will also say that by the end of Treason, it feels like this trust that isn't there at the beginning has returned. So it could just be a lack of familiarity that they fall back into those routines. But it's, I don't know, I just found it interesting, because it does feel like now there is an implicit trust between Thrawn and Aralani, and it didn't feel like that when we first met her.
Yeah, and even if there was no conflict, like, it's been a while since they've seen each other. And, you know, he's getting her, and I don't remember how it goes, but like, they connect somehow, and I forgot where my point was going. Will it come back?
Time will tell.
Burb's gonna text us in 3 hours.
Yeah, the episode's gonna drop, and I'm gonna remember.
Yep.
It's okay. That's why you. Oh, sorry, I muted myself. That's why you run our social.
I just run the Instagram, and I probably shouldn't be doing that.
Hey, you do a better job than I do with the Twitter lately, so.
Yeah, I try to find things out about the podcast and like get up to date. I go to the Twitter and I'm like, this is
That's your first mistake. I have been very depressed, capital V, capital D. Good
It's okay.
times.
I haven't even been depressed and I haven't updated. I have just like won't even open Instagram anymore. I got one message I didn't want to respond to like 3 months ago and I was like, why do I use this platform? I just stopped.
fucking move.
That's so real.
It wasn't even anything bad. It was like just someone I didn't have anything to say to and I was like, oh.
Honestly,
need
that's
to-
me with Twitter recently.
I think maybe like it's so ironic because in the past, sorry, I know this is a book podcast, but in the past I always wanted to use social media less, and now I'm like, do I need to make a New Year's resolution to actually use my social media, including our Book Wars pod stuff? Because it's not happening.
Yeah. Ironically, I'm going to be on Twitter much more now that I have a job again, because the only time I was ever on Twitter was like when I was at a computer. Or rather, the only time I was ever on my personal Twitter was when I was at a computer, because I specifically don't have it on my phone because I would be on it all the time.
Oh, that's smart.
The only
Well,
Twitter
you
I have
tweet
on my
for-
phone is the pod Twitter to like retweet and comment on Star Wars news.
Will you tweet from the pod from your new job as well?
Probably. If anybody from the pod is, or from my new job is going back and listening to this, I'd never do that ever.
He
Never.
would
He's never done
do
it.
such a thing.
But yeah, so we'll see if
Not
the
trying to
Twitter
get
gets
you in
more
trouble
active.
with work.
That's okay.
Just
They
all
don't
I
know
do is
the,
rat
they don't
people
know the
out.
name of this podcast, and I don't plan to tell them.
Smart.
Yeah. One final kind of goodbye point, which is made as a kind of goodbye point in the book because
And it is my
in the
favorite
epilogue.
point in this entire outline, by the way.
Who the fuck is Jixtus?
Well, I would like to commend Timothy Zahn for finding multiple consonants, first of all.
Almost too many though.
That,
But
that's
yeah, he overcompensated.
no, that's nothing. I got a minor in Russian in college. That's they could fit it. He could fit a couple more in there.
Fair, very fair. Side note, Burb, have you watched The Great on Hulu?
I watched part of the first season.
Okay. Me and Kate are very behind in watching it now, but I very much enjoy it, and I think of you because of the Russian shit.
I watched that show with my mom while recovering from surgery. So,
Nice.
yeah.
There you go. Wait, so actually, who is Jixtus? I remember seeing his name, but I do not remember in what context.
Okay, so if you watch The Great, no. I'm just kidding.
So, Nicholas II.
So Jixtus is, and in the epilogue, how like Kilori is like making his way out of the area, like grumbling about how he hates Thrawn, and then like comes upon this massive warship, and like the voice of God talks to him and is like, "Oh yeah, you will defeat Thrawn." That the voice of Jixtus is the voice of God.
I just assumed it was Snoke,
I mean, it's not a wrong idea.
aka Darth Jar Jar.
Everything.
Or
is,
somehow Palpatine has returned.
It's
Always an option.
Palpatine. I mean, I actually thought it was Palpatine. Like
that would have
and
been.
Then he said
twist.
Jixtus, and I was like, "Is this? Do you have like a stage name in the chaos?"
Distant cousin Jixtus Palpatine.
Palpatine's drag name.
You heard it here first,
Mhm.
folks.
But yeah, I mean, we're gonna get more about him in the next two books, but he is obviously positioned as the big bad, or a representative of the big bad.
Chris, anything
That's
exciting you want to
homophobic.
foreshadow for us?
I mean, I think,
By foreshadow, I mean let us know.
I mean, one thing that came to mind when I first read the book is Jixtus a Grisk, because the Grisk are the kind of the big enemies that we see in the Thrawn in the first trilogy, the first canon trilogy, and you definitely get the feeling that Thrawn has experience with them, and that they are like somewhat known to the Chiss.
I have zero memory of the original Thrawn trilogy. I know I read it as a child, but I don't remember a thing about it.
Oh,
so
I don't even mean
so
that one.
that
I
was-
mean like the canon, the first canon Thrawn trilogy.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I didn't even read that one, so.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I love Thrawn Alliances because it has my trash raccoon favorite character in it, but but I also know that it's Miranda's least favorite because it has no Eli.
He's the best.
Yeah. But anyway, so I remember that being my thought when we first encountered Jixtis, is he one of these mythical Grisk that we hear so much about? So time will tell.
Okay.
I mean, do you?
I was about to have a thought on it, and then it wasn't a real thought or a fully formed thought, so
That's fair.
I think I'll put that down and maybe pick it up again next time we chat about it.
Cool. Rana, any final thoughts?
I didn't have a starting thought, so no, I'm
All right, perfect. Excellent.
Started from the bottom, now we're still at the bottom.
Also, see title of my autobiography.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening to yet another thrilling episode of the Book Wars Pod. Get your vaccines and boosters, because you will catch Omicron. And if you have a vaccine and a booster, it'll be less bad. Our next episode, we're going to be wrapping up Thrawn Ascendancy Chaos Rising, finally. And then we're going to be getting back into books that we enjoy reading. I feel... I don't mean to be this mean to Tim Zahn, but it comes out.
I liked the last part of this book. I liked this section.
It was fun at the end.
It's the only section where interesting things happen.
Yeah, that's how Tim Zahn books work. They're 95% setup. Anyway, our next book after that, we're going to be finally getting into the High Republic, reading Light of the Jedi by Charles Soule, which is the opening book to the literary magnum opus that is the High Republic. It's more than literary now that there's that Quantum Dream game coming out that's set in the High Republic too. And I think, the Acolyte is set in the High Republic too. Like, it's...
Oh, fuck, yeah, it is.
It's a big fucking moment for the High Republic. So if you have means, first of all, don't support us. Second of all, do support the T-Fund at tfund.org. And then if you want to support us, you can donate to the Tosh Station Radio Patreon or give us coffee at ko-fi.com/bookwarspod. And just really helping keep the money flowing toward Argos, Cerberus, Jasper, Orca, and Tony. Our theme song is Whiz Bang by Poddington Bear. Our logo and artwork are by Joe Butier Design, and our audio and production are done, as always, by Kristen McDonald. I am Chris. I'm very proud of myself for somehow not coughing into the mic this entire time. So
For a second, I thought you were going to forget your name.
I
am Groot.
I'm Jixtis.
Surprise.
Twist. For Miranda, Rana, Kristen, and Kate, thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.
Everything's under control. Situation normal.
I want to see Palpatine in drag.
Yeah, I can imagine it. I don't know why I said it, but I can see it now.